Welcome to Walk Talk, your source for news and information about AIDS Walk Miami on April 22nd at SoundScape Park in Miami Beach. Today's guest, we have the founder of Care Resource, who has been with AIDS Walk Miami for the full 30 years, but has been associated with Care Resource for much longer than that. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Jonathan. It's really good to be here.
Mr. Russel Corbett.
It's great to be here, and it's really wonderful to see all the changes that have taken place in the way we communicate and our outreach and our public face in the last 35 years.
So, in 1988 was the first AIDS Walk Miami.
That's right.
And you were part of that, yes?
I was.
Where was that walk located?
We walked from Bayfront Park down through town, across the bridge and back up Brickell Avenue and across the bridge again, and had a candlelight vigil at one point in Bayfront Park.
Wow. And the 1980s, that was a different time.
It was a really different time. Care Resource is what grew out of two organizations, Health Crisis Network and Community Research Initiative, which were both started in the early 80s. I was involved in the founding of Health Crisis Network in 1983, and it was a very different time. People were terrified of people with AIDS. Nurses would leave dinner trays in hallways. Everyone had to gown and glove when you went in to visit people, and no one was ever sure from day to day if it was for your protection or the patient's. So we've made great strides in our attitudes toward HIV and AIDS, as well as the care and treatment of the disease.
So how have you seen Care Resource change these past 30 years?
Well, we could start with the fact that the entire corporate office used to be in the trunk of my Oldsmobile, and now we have 5 locations and a staff of 150 or more.
Let's rewind a little bit. You said in the back of your Oldsmobile? I bet there's a story there.
Well, for the first year, we didn't have corporate offices, and we were such a fledgling organization trying to figure out what we were doing that I just kept all of the corporate records and the ledgers in my cars so that if somebody decided we needed to have a meeting that evening, we had all the paperwork with us that we might need.
Wow, so Care Resource has come a long way since then, for sure.
Indeed.
So tell me, there's been a lot of milestones in treatment and in medicine, and you in Care Resource, have been, part of those advancements, but we still have a lot more way to go, wouldn't you say?
We've come a long way. People aren't necessarily afraid of people with AIDS or HIV infection anymore, but there is still some stigma involved, and we haven't quite eliminated new infections, but we're working on it, and research is constantly coming up with new things, so I think that it's in sight where we may reach that point.
So your team, the directors, are part of AIDS Walk Miami, and I know that team's been part of AIDS Walk Miami since the beginning. What kind of encouragement do you have, for those that want to start their team now? What kind of advice do you give them?
Well, it's the easiest thing on earth to start a team, really. I actually started mine on my laptop from the beach in Jamaica a few weeks ago while we were at my niece's wedding. Took about 5 minutes. Easiest thing in the world. Then all you have to do is encourage your friends and family to join your team and email everyone you know asking them for support.
So one can just go onto aidswalkmiami.org, and at the top left-hand side it says Start a Team. And then right there, it's 3 clicks. So, well, sir, thank you very much for being here. Look forward to seeing you and your team. AIDS Walk Miami.
See you at the walk.
Thank you. And we'll be right back.
Over 30 years ago, a crisis began that has taken its toll on our community. From this crisis, a local health center was born, providing immediate care and assistance. And 30 years later, a leader in HIV prevention and treatment, providing everyday health care and food bank services for thousands. So please join us on April 22nd for the 30th anniversary of AIDS Walk Miami. We need you now more than ever because there is no cure. Visit AIDSWalkMiami.org and join the walk today.
And welcome back to Walk Talk, your source for news and information about AIDS Walk Miami on April 22nd at SoundScape Park in Miami Beach. We're here with Miss Sonja Smith, board member of Care Resource, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Jonathan. Thank you so much for having me here.
I'm excited about our 30th anniversary of AIDS Walk Miami.
I am so excited. I can't believe it's been 30 years already. You know, I am so proud to be a part of this organization. And I'll tell you why. You know, Care Resource today has the same fundamental beliefs as it had at our first AIDS Walk Miami 30 years ago. And that is that healthcare should be something that is accessible and available to everyone.
To everyone.
To
Accessible and available.
Yes.
To everyone.
To everyone.
Regardless of circumstance.
Regardless of the circumstance, you know. I have been a part of this organization now for a little over 10 years, and I was first introduced to it by my Uncle Lee.
Your Uncle Lee?
Mm-hmm. My Uncle Lee has been HIV positive now for over 30 years. Mm-hmm. And I remember vividly when he was first diagnosed with HIV. It was, there was so much stigma and fear that surrounded this disease. And I recall, that if you were fortunate enough to keep your health care provider, fortunate enough to keep your doctor, chances are you had to see him before office hours or after office hours, because the stigma and the fear, you could not be in the same waiting room with someone that was non-HIV. You know, it was too much. So Care Resource provided the first facility that provided a place for those diagnosed with HIV to go and get treatment, to get medical treatment, behavioral treatment, as well as nutritional treatment.
I know that as the epidemic of HIV/AIDS has changed, so has too Care Resource as a health center.
Oh, absolutely it has. I mean, we fast forward now 30 years later, and you don't have to have a life-threatening disease or life-threatening illness to not be able to get health care, right? What Care Resource did is we expanded upon our belief that healthcare should be inclusive for everyone. And over a decade ago, we became FQHC qualified. And what that means is that anyone within our community, that whether it's a man, woman, child, HIV positive or not, can receive healthcare treatment, okay? And that is, and we're very, very proud of that accomplishment. So to take it even a step farther, you know, it's hard to think today that if you're a mother and you have a family and you need to see the doctor, or your child needs to see the doctor, and you're in between jobs or you're out of work, that you have to wait until you are employed and that healthcare kicks in before you can even go to the doctor. That's where we are today. But I want to personally invite everyone in our community to come out and support us with AIDS Walk Miami, because when you support AIDS Walk Miami, you're not just supporting those in our community who are HIV positive. You're supporting an organization that supports everyone in our community and believes that all should have health care regardless. So a support for HIV at AIDS Walk Miami is a support for your community.
Indeed, and together we can get to...
And together we can get to
zero
viral load, yes.
0 deaths, 0 new infections, 0 stigma.
My uncle right now is 0 viral load. It is possible. It takes a lot of hard work, but we can get there. We can absolutely get there.
Indeed. Well, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you.
And we'll see you April 22nd at SoundScape Park in Miami Beach. Make sure to visit AIDSWalkMiami.org and start your team today. For forms and brochures and posters and other downloadable materials, please visit AIDSWalkMiami.org. And make sure to check out registration forms that will be available in all Starbucks locations in April. Have a great day.
Thank you for watching AIDS Walk Miami's Walk Talk News Show with a live webcast every other week leading up to the walk. If you or your team want to be featured on an upcoming episode, email us at info@aidswalkmiami.org or call us at 305-751-WALK. Don't forget to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/AIDSWalkMiami or follow us on Twitter for up-to-date information on the walk.